Hello, Allison here, and I'm in the middle of sorting my papers back into rainbow order. So I used to have them in rainbow order, and then I took my paper rack over to my store. I had a little craft store for 3 years, and we used it there. And while there, I got kind of used to having all the papers sorted by collection and designer. So when we closed the store and I brought my paper rack home, I put my papers in order by designer. But I was finding it wasn't working for me the way I wanted it to. So I wasn't able to quickly find papers that I wanted when I wanted them. So if I knew exactly which collection I wanted to go to or which paper I wanted to use and which designer it had made it, then it was really easy. But if I was at the point in a project where I was like, I would really like to have a light blue floral here, I couldn't necessarily remember where I would easily find that. So it would take me quite a while to search through various designers' papers to find a light blue floral. So I have decided to put everything back by color order, and it's a bit of a process. So this is just some of my papers, but I thought I would take you through how I do this, because as you know, if you are a 12 by 12 scrapbooker, most papers are double-sided. So I've just grabbed the next stack in my to be sorted pile, and we're now at the 49 in Market. So this is, I don't even know if that's the A side or the B side, but that's one side. Beautiful rainbow. That's the other side. Now that's got the barcode on it, so this is probably the A side. So looking at this, I have to decide which one am I most likely to use and then sort it by that side. I love this side, but am I more likely to use that side? In this particular paper might be a bad example because I'm not entirely sure. I actually quite like that one. So I'm in my guest room / eldest daughter's room when she comes. I have them sorted, so the far left over there, that's the pinks, reds, oranges, yellows. And then in the back corner here, the big pile is multicolored. So I've got a lot of, I need to sort through that, and we'll go through that together. And then I've got sort of tucked over here, I've got like neutrals, browns, creams, that kind of thing. These are cut aparts. These are my whites, and like white cardstocks and white-based, mostly white-based papers. I'm not saying that correctly. Over here, I got green and sort of a tealy, like tealy turquoisey kind of greenish blue, blues, purples, and then if I can turn my camera, blacks and grays. So this one, I'm going to put this into my multicolored, and then I can sort it out in a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't go off to the bed. Next one, that's kind of easy. That's yellow. What's on the back? Also yellow. And so I also, when I put papers like this that have, the same color on both sides, I will put it the side up that I think I'm most likely to use. And that to me is beautiful and an easy, gorgeous yellow to use as a background or to matte photos. So that's the side I'm going to have up on my rack. So I'll put that with my yellows. So I'm just going to keep going through and sort that out. That's green. I think this is the Spectrum Sherbet line. Yeah. So they're all like this, where they've got more of a, I was going to say solid. It's not a solid, but you know what I mean. More of a solid pattern on one side. And then this real sort of mixed media, it almost gives like gesso-y kind of look to it. So I will probably have most of these papers this side up, just because it's easier to use that side up. And we've got a pink. That's not where pinks go. So this is just what I'm gonna do. Now, Spectrum or 49 in Market, their cover sheets for their collections always have stuff on the back. So this one is a cut apart. So I will put that in my cut aparts. And I've got another one here. So that one is also, I would consider a cut apart. So I'm just going to keep going through this. And then when I have gone through all of my papers and they're all separated by color, I will come back and we will go through these piles, the multicolored pile, and I will show you how I will further sort those ones. Okay, I have finished sorting through all of my individual sheets of paper, and these are my piles. Now I still have to go through these piles, but I wanted to point out there's a couple of piles that are going to be too big for my shelf. So these are my blues, and then over there you see my pinks. So I am going to further divide them into light pink, dark pink, light blue, dark blue. But that I can do downstairs in my craft room once I take all these piles downstairs. So my next step is to go through these other piles and further separate them. So I'm going to take some of these downstairs and then we can discuss. In fact, I might take them all downstairs so that we can do this in my craft room. See you there. I decided that 3 of the colors needed to be split into light and dark. The blue, the green, and the pink. I'll just use the blue, for example, because it's right on top. There's just too many papers in here to fit in my rack, and not have them all kind of get all messed up. And I do tend to think when I'm scrapbooking, do I need a light blue or a dark blue? So that kind of makes sense to split these apart. So let's start with the blue. And it's a very easy process for me to do this. So I'm just going to put the other 2 colors to one side and we can look at the blues. I'm not going to go through all of the colors because that's just redundant. Okay. So I've already got them all arranged by the side that I am most likely to use. And sometimes I have 2 sheets from a collection, and so I've either put them in with both sides on the side that I'm going to use, like if both sides have a blue on one side, for example. But if the other side is something that I might use, I have put that in that category. I was just saying that just in case we run into colors that, or papers that are duplicated. So this one is this dark blue with multicolored hearts on it. The other side is a cut apart, so I figured I was more likely to use that side. So, okay, so dark blues and light blues, and I'm just going to lift this whole thing up and hold it in front of me, which means I'm actually going to start at the bottom now. Now, I have put all of my cardstock on the bottom. I don't keep a ton of cardstock, but I do have some, so we're just going to separate them, and this is what I'm going to be doing for all of my papers. It's very simple. It's not really rocket science. I'm probably going to end up with more light blues than dark blues. That's my suspicion. But yeah. So this is what I'm going to do as I go through my entire stack here. And so this one has actually, it's the same color on each side. They're both plaids. One is just oriented in the opposite direction. So we're gonna make sure that I can see both sides. This one is the same. So one side has the metallic stars and the other side just has a little white star pattern. So I have put them in my pile so that I can see both sides. Now, I had originally put all of these papers in color order. And I had started thinking that maybe I want to pull them out and have like a mixed media section. So I think I'm going to do that, which means I do need to go through all of the other colors, because I know there was quite a few that I put into like the pink and the orange and the yellow, and pull those out. Because I realized as I was thinking about it a little bit more that if I'm looking for mixed media paper, then I will look for mixed media paper. I don't think of, I need a blue paper, let's find that mixed media one. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Some of them have been used, but they're not small enough to go into my scrap basket. My scrap basket is basically like maybe 7 or 8 inches. I can't take a 12 by 12 in my scrap basket. Okay, there we go. So now I can put these on the shelf. That is a much easier amount for my shelf to handle. And I will continue this with my green and my pink piles. Next job to tackle. It's this giant stack. So I just brought everything down from the room where I was sorting everything. So I've got in this giant stack all of the neutrals and the multicolors and the cut aparts. And I am going to further sort them into different categories. So right on top here is my sort of black, white, gray pile. And I think there's some things in here that I probably want to resort. Looking specifically at this guy, the wood grain, I would like to have a category for wood grain. I really like using wood grain, and when I'm creating, that is a thought I have, like, oh, I would like a wood grain. So I would definitely like to have a shelf that is all my wood grains. Doesn't matter what the colors are. Now I think I have put, say if I have a pink wood grain or whatever, I think I've put it in with my pinks. At this point, I'm not going to go back through and sort through all of that. But if I have a shelf that is just wood grain, I will be very happy. Underneath here is the multicolored pile. And I was just putting everything in there that was colorful. And I will further separate that into different categories, and we will discuss that when we get there. I am going to do some pre-sorting because you guys don't need to watch all this. It's kind of boring. And when I get to a point where I think it's salient to teach you something or share something, I will come back on. Until then, wish me luck. So I went through my white pile, and this is how I have separated it right now. And I am not going to make any final decisions until I go through my multicolored pile to see just how many slots I have left. But I had this giant stack, which is all white cardstock. I mean, I've got 2 whole packs of white cardstock. And then this shiny piece. There are some, this is Vicky Bouton's, the name escapes me right now, but her watercolor paper. And so this I am just going to put on a shelf on its own. And then the other 2 piles I have, these are like mostly, like I would call these a white pattern, but these ones have color. These ones are white base with like black and white only on them. And some are more, I was gonna say distressed, but that's antiqued is probably a better way to describe that. Then others, some have some metallic in them. So, but they are basically just white with a single color on it, mostly black, white or gray. And these ones have, as you can see, more color. So right now I have separated them in these, separated them like this. I might not have enough shelf space to actually put them on the shelf like this. And I think I'll be okay putting them all together, but I wanted to separate them out now. And if I do have the shelf space to keep them in 2 different categories, I will. So for now, they're gonna go like that. Now it is time to tackle this multicolored pile. And I want to have at least 3 categories, and I'll probably come up with more as I go through this. I want florals, I want stripes, and probably like maybe like an organic, like a butterfly or rainbows, or I'm not sure. Rainbow might be its own category because I do have a lot of rainbow papers. So these ones I actually took from my black pile because I think I am more likely to look for them as a floral than as a black, but I reserve the right to change my mind. Anyways, so those will start my florals pile. Geometrics. I probably need one for geometrics. Yes, and then there's something like this. So this to me could go in, when I separated out my cut aparts, I have one that is shapes that I could cut apart or like border strip type thing. So that one could go into my cut apart one. In fact, I think I'm going to do that right now. Polka dots. I'm going to have to move this giant pile. I need a bigger desk is what I need. Stripes. Now that one, is that going to go polka dots or is that going to go wood grain? You know what? I'm going to put it in the wood grain and see what I like. And then I got something like this that is just kind of, I don't know, what do you call that? Blobs? Polka dots, florals. Here's something else that could go into the cut aparts, but probably not. So this is one where I have 2 sheets. And I don't know if I'll even actually ever want to use that side. So you know what? This is going to go into my rainbow section. So this is what I'm going to do. There's another stripe. And I'm not going to differentiate between diagonal stripes and horizontal or vertical stripes. It's all just going to be stripes. This one I'm going to call a polka dot. Here's another splotchy one. Call that like paint splatters. Now, most of my rainbow papers are rainbow stripes. So you're probably going to say, but shouldn't that be in your stripes? Maybe, but also I tend to think I need a rainbow paper. But that one I would use as a stripe. Okay, so I'm just going to keep doing this and I will come back. Aha! That is one of those, like, I don't know, organic shapes. I'm going to put that one to one side for now. And then we've got multicolored text. I might need a text one. Stars. I'm going to put that there. Oh, and we've got plaid. I probably do need a plaid one. There's another one of those fruity ones, different motifs on it. I could probably have a whole butterfly section, but I might just put that in with all my sort of motify things. There's another plaid. Okay, so like I said, I'm just going to keep doing this, and then I will show you all my categories when I come back. All right, this is going to seem like a lot of categories to some people, but part of my bee nature is to sort of micro categorize things. So the more categories I can separate my things into, the happier I am, because the easier I am able to find things when I'm looking for them, because my brain doesn't say I need, when my brain is looking for something, it says, I would really like to have a stripe here, or I would really like to have a floral. I would really like to have something that I can cut apart. You know, it's very specific. So I've counted my racks on my paper rack or paper shelf, and I have enough. So I'm going to leave them like this, even though there's some categories that have very few papers in them, and just see if it helps my process. If it doesn't, and if I find I need those racks for something else, then I can rearrange. So here we go. Rainbow. So we've got some that are literal rainbows, some that are radial rainbows, quite a few that are rainbow stripe. So I could easily put the stripes in with the stripes, but for now I'm not. These are my stripes. Stripes of all colorways, up and down, diagonal. And then there's this one, which could go into my geometrics category, but I'm leaving it in my stripes for now. Then I've got like words. And these would typically be cut maybe as photo mats, or maybe I would use it as a full page background. Got words. Plaid. I don't have a lot in here. A lot of the plaids that I do have, or the checks, are single color, and so they're in with their color categories, but these are the multicolored ones that I have. Circular elements, polka dots, but most of them are more like bigger motifs that are round. This one could also go into my rainbow category, but I'm keeping it in the polka dot sort of round shape category for now. We'll see how that goes. This one is a little more hard to categorize, but I'm calling it my like painterly mixed media-ish kind of thing. I do have a whole shelf right now that has all my Vicky Bouton mixed media papers, like the starter ones. But these are ones that have, to me, a kind of random painterly, blobby sort of look to them. A lot of these I had put originally into my rainbow category because they do have rainbow colors, but they're quite distressed. And so I would probably be looking for like a distressed background rather than a rainbow when I'm looking for this. And this one could go into my organic category, but it does have this lovely back as well. So it's going to stay in this painterly, mushy, mixed media-y category for now. Next one is geometrics. So I've got stars. This one is an interesting paper, and I honestly don't know if I will use it. The back side is also something that I may not use, so we'll just see if it gets put to use on a paper. But if I was to use it, I would probably cut it up or use it as a full background and use the sort of quadrants that are on it already to designate where things are going. Hexagons. This could also go into my round, but because of the stars in there, I feel it's more geometric. Triangles. What else is back there? And that one. So my geometric category, and then my florals. This is kind of an easier one to grasp. It's just all florals. And finally, this one. So this is kind of my miscellaneous. These could go into, I have a category of things that I could cut apart, and this could easily go in there, but it's like, you know, leaves, great. I'm not likely to use that side. I would probably use this and maybe even cut them apart a little bit. I would use this as a layering piece or fussy cut images out of it. This I would definitely either a whole like row of bicycles, or I would cut them out individually. Again, with the butterflies, I love butterflies, so I use them a lot. Now this piece is in this category because quite honestly, I would probably just cut off the bottom and use the cloud pattern. And the back side is green. So it's in here until I figure out what to do with it. This one, again, I would either use this as a full background because it's stunning, or I would cut out either individual cameras or individual sort of blocks to have like a block of colored cameras or whatever. The backside is a purple, which is not a color I gravitate towards a lot, so it's in there for the cameras. And it could go into my rainbow section, but because it's got the motifs on it, it's in my sort of generic. I have 2 sheets of this balloon paper, and I don't know what I would do with this. It's from a paper pad, so it's single-sided. I would probably have to use it as a layering piece. So anyways, it's in there for that. These I have used a lot, and I've cut out globes, especially my travel albums. So, but it is a good layering piece as well. I have this pet collection, and it could go into my plaid section. I think I've got this in my blue already. Sorry, bumped the camera. But I would be likely to cut these out as colorful heart accents. So again, I could put this into my cut aparts. I do have 2 sheets of it, so you know what? I'm just going to put one right into my cut aparts. Balloon paper, probably just a layering piece. I know I have that one in my reds already. More butterflies. Told you I like butterflies. And like really, like these papers I find hard. Like it has a cut apart on the back, which theoretically I could use, although I don't know if any of them are really ones that I would use. But my daughters do work at a farm that is famous for their strawberries, so I could, I probably will use this to tell some of those stories. And then, sure. And the other side is equally like, sure. So this is in my sort of generic motif category. Okay, so I'm going to put all those on my shelf, and then I'm going to go through my cut apart piles for you. These are my 2 sort of cut apart piles. This one I initially sorted into what I would call proper cut aparts, and I'm going to go through this because it's a bit fat, and I'm going to go through this and see maybe some of these have B-sides that I could use better than the A-sides, because I don't actually use a ton of cut aparts. I don't do a pocket page on a regular basis. I do like to use little journaling cards, but I do have a lot cut out already that I try and reach for first before I go and cut into a 12 by 12. Now, some of these already have been cut into, but I think it's worth to go through this pile again in particular because it's so fat, and differentiate the ones that are cut aparts that I will use, ones that have like both sides are cut apart, so there is no sort of B-side pattern. Like I'm probably more likely to actually use that than the cut aparts. So I think I will go through that. I will put this back into my shelf with this side up, but I will do that off camera. This other pile is motifs that I would cut apart, or pages that are like tags and labels, or ones like this that have like measuring tapes on them. I would be more likely to cut either a single measuring tape out or a chunk of measuring tape rather than use it as a pattern. I could put it in as a floral, but I think I already have this as a floral. And it's a brown based floral, and I don't use a ton of browns. I actually have a fairly large brown and cream section, which I'm not really sure what's going to happen with. But so anyways, these are just things like you saw me put this one in here. This is just tags and labels. Now the back side is a color that I don't necessarily gravitate towards, but I know that it's there. This one, I really like to cut circular elements and dot them around. So that one I'm leaving as a cut apart. The back is very usable. And then there are some things like florals in here where I've already cut out part of the floral. So in my mind, I've sort of pegged this as a cut apart. And then ones like this that I could easily cut some of these out to use on as embellishment cluster areas. And then also ones like this that are designed to be cut into strips. Tags and labels. So, oh, and ones like this where I wouldn't necessarily use that as a background or even a layering piece, but I would cut out some of those images to use. So that's what's in here. Various. This is the like the packaging. They always have fun things on the back to cut apart. So that's in my cut apart sheet. So this is like my cut apart motifs, cameras, other things. And then I need to sort through this other one. So why don't we take a minute and sort through the other one together real quick. I'll put this one away on my shelf. Okay, so we've already decided that's going to go in for its B side. That is a color palette that I'm probably not going to use. Never say never, but I know I do have this in a 6x8, so I'm going to keep that one as a cut apart. That's a perfectly good floral, so I could put that as a floral. Now I'm just going to look actually at the cut aparts. Yeah, I think I'm good using that as a floral. Now these ones, oh no, I lied. That is just, it's not a colorway. I don't tend to like this real creamy based antiqued white, so I'm going to keep that as a cut apart. Let's see what's on the back of that. If the B side is not one that I'm likely to use, I'm going to keep it as a cut apart. We had this collection in the store, and I love these, you know, year-long ones, but this one was just not really in a colorway that I would normally gravitate towards, and I think a lot of other people felt the same way because it didn't sell very well. These ones I know are double-sided cut aparts, and there's a whole stack of them. A lot of them are ones that I probably won't be using, like all these vintagey ones. I'm going to keep them in here for now. You never know. I might do some sort of vintagey album, but I don't know. Am I more likely to use the pink ledger or this side? Probably the pink ledger. Now this one, you know what, I'm actually going to do something here that I said I wasn't going to do with the other ones that had been cut into, but this one has been so cut into, I am just going to do this. And that's going into my scrap bin right now. I had a whole collection, and so I think I left this in here as cut apart because I wasn't really sure about the B sides. These ones I know have gorgeous B-sides, but I also really like the colorway of the yearly ones. So I think I'm going to keep those as cut aparts for now. How many birthday ones do I need? Or would I like green plaid better? I think green plaid. I already have that in with my geometrics, so, and I'm pretty sure I have all of these B-sides represented on my shelf already, so I'm going to keep these as cut aparts for now. That is a wedding one. That's right. Kept it in there because I wasn't going to use either side. That's more of that collection that I like the colorway, so I'm going to keep those as cut aparts. This is from Paper Rose, and both sides are cut aparts. So they have just got to stay in here as is. I have that paper in with my grays, so I'll keep that. And I might keep that on the forefront considering what's going on in the world right now. Yeah, I'll keep that one. I have this dog collection. I really need to, I guess, use it to scrapbook my dog. I'm not doing a very good job of moving things to other areas, am I? So a lot of these have B-sides that I don't think I would use. So they're going to stay in there for the cut aparts. This one I am going to put into the other cut apart section, which is like motifs and things. So that one I can move. And this one I've already cut into. I am going to trim this up so it's not catching anything. Okay, so I didn't whittle that down too much, but I think enough that it will fit comfortably on my shelf now. So once this is done, I have a few more things upstairs, like 12 by 12 sticker sheets and some paper pads that I need to figure out what I'm doing with. But then I'm done and I will show you the finished results. When I went back upstairs to grab the letter stickers and all of my paper pads, I came across this pile, and I'd kind of forgotten about this pile. This is my specialty paper pile. So anything that is not cardstock, anything like the vellums, the acetates, you know, all those specialty papers that come with collections, and then some that I've gathered over the years. So I'm going to take a few moments and go through and see if I actually want to keep them. I have one slot left on my paper rack that these can live in, but it does leave me with a conundrum as to what to do with this stack, which is mostly my 12 by 12 sheets of stickers, with the exception of these two. So I had started to use some of this. I bought a collection at a garage sale. This is an older Teresa Collins set, and I had started to use some of these, and I had left it in the 12 by 12 form. These are all sort of punch out shapes. It's kind of like a cut apart, only it's pre-cut apart. So I had left it on my racks with my other Teresa Collins papers. So now that I have sort of done away with that, do I put it back with my cut aparts, or do I take the time and punch it all apart? I am leaning towards putting it with my cut apart sheets. So I think that's what I'm going to do. The other one is this Simple Stories page kit. And it's everything that came with the kit. So I've got chipboard, instructions, and then all the pages that are sort of pre-punched. And then the 12 by 12. And honestly, looking at this, actually, I don't think I've ever really taken a close look at it. Looking at it right now, I highly doubt I would ever make something with this, although I just had a thought. Bear with me. My brain is just, firing. We had, here at ScrapHappy, our previous reunion was Race to Reunion because it took place in Charlotte, home of NASCAR. Now, we didn't go and visit NASCAR, but we used a lot of these black and white checkered decorations. And I saw on one of these a car. Did I? Am I just making that up? No, there must be, because it's here. Yes, here. So, you know what? I am going to put this aside to use to scrapbook some of those memories. I've already made some. Have I made 12 by 12s? I know I have a mini album. So I'm going to put that aside to go with those photos and memories. Maybe this will spur me to actually make a 12 by 12. Okay. And then we've got all of these 12 by 12 sticker sheets. So they were on my paper rack. But I admit I forget to go and look at these. And most of these are basically still 100% complete. We get into some older ones that have been picked over. Some have been cut into. But yeah. So, I am not going to bore you with it, but I will go through all of these and just keep the ones that I really want to keep, and the rest will go in my donate and or recycle. So that just leaves me with all of my paper pads. So I'm going to deal with these two piles, and then we're going to talk about the paper pads. So I will be back. I have completely finished, so let me show you my paper rack now. The left side is my rainbow order of papers, and then the right side is, well, we've got the white cardstock at the bottom there, and then all of my sort of multicolored ones divided in those categories that we went through, and then this one is all those specialty papers that the ones that I'm saving. And then let me show you what I did. So these were also in my paper pads, and then this was in with all my specialty papers, and these I'm going to let go of. I used to do a lot of card making and whatnot, which didn't require glitter, but I used it a lot, but I'm giving that up. And so I'm going to give these up. And then the rest I have organized on my shelves. Okay, so this is the bookshelf that sits next to me and on my right as I craft. And I have just spent some time reorganizing a little bit. And well, except for those letter stickers, I still need to deal with those. But this is where I started putting all of my items. So let's start with the 12 by 12 sticker sheets that I had, that were originally on my paper rack. So they now sit in here along with like flat letter stickers. I don't use them a ton, but I can't really get rid of them. I got my enamel dots, which I use all the time, doilies, brads, badges, wood veneer, and then I got to deal with all these thickers still. I found a ton in a box that I'd completely forgotten about, so I have to completely reorganize all that still. I've got my stamp. So in a previous video I talked about how I am going to be anything that is in that container at the end of 2025 is basically scheduled for donation. That's a bunch of layouts I need to figure out what to do with. I briefly started talking about these drawers. So these drawers used to live down on the bottom and they were really awkward to get to. So I decided to move them up and take a look at what's inside. So 6x12 sticker sheets are in here, as well as any flat stickers. And then I went through some of those 12x12 sticker sheets, and anything that you know, didn't have that much left on it or whatever, I just cut out what I felt I could use. And then anything with dimension is in here. So puffy stickers, I've got word stickers, well, not really chipboard stickers, that's in a different, actually no, is that in here? Yeah, it is. Sorry, chipboard stickers, like anything with dimension is in this one. And then up here I've got all of those ephemera packs, rub-ons. These, I found a whole ton of 49 and Market stuff that I had completely forgotten about, so I'm gonna have to use all those. But I have a lot of ephemera packs and that sort of thing, so that is all in this one. And then I've got, this is all the 49 and Market that I found. I honestly, I don't know what I'm gonna do with those. That's called pushing it off to another day. And then I've got these two baskets that I can pull to my desk. So this one's got all the sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like flowers, you know, more shaped die cuts. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. And then this one has any word strips, or not word strips, but cut aparts that I've cut apart, or die cut packs that I have put in here. So there's a ton in there. And then up above I've got, I purged a lot of my 6x6 and 6x8 paper pads, but I've kept some there. I've still got some 8.5x11 cardstock, not a ton, but it's there. So everything is available. Oh, and the paper pads, they're tucked right in here, so I can easily see them and grab them. All right, so that is where we're at. Next step will be to show you how I use my system to actually create a layout.